Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has continued to make phone calls with world leaders since President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S. announced that President Vladimir Putin of Russia will meet with him next week Friday in the U.S. state of Alaska, and stated while answering questions from the Whitehouse reporters that there will be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both Ukraine and Russia, specifically saying, "We will get some back, and we will get some switched. There will be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both," a statement that immediately and apparently drew the attention of the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who have issued series of video and written press releases since President Donald Trump made the announcement, insisting that Ukraine will not cede any of its territory to Russia for the purpose of peace or to end the war, emphasizing that it was because President Putin occupied part of Ukraine territory in the past and assembled its troops Ukrainian borders without preventive punishment, made him to start full-scale war with Ukraine since 2022, adding that the path to peace for Ukraine must be determined together with Ukraine. This is fundamental. It is important that joint approaches and a shared vision work toward genuine peace, a consolidated position, ceasefire, end of occupation, end of war. According to Trump, the highly anticipated meeting between myself, as President of the United States of America, and President Vladimir Putin, of Russia, will take place next Friday, August 15, 2025, in the great state of Alaska. Further details to follow. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Zelenskyy, in a series of press releases on Saturday, said, "I have not heard any partners express doubts about America's ability to ensure that the war ends. The President of the United States has the levers and the determination. Ukraine has supported all of President Trump's proposals, starting back in February. Ceasefire, all formats have been supported. What is needed now is not a pause in the killings, but a real, lasting peace. Not a ceasefire sometime in the future, in months, but immediately. President Trump told me so, and I fully support it. There must be a just end to the war, and it is Russia that must end the war it started. Ukraine and all partners share the same understanding of the need for a ceasefire, for an end to the killings. There is only one actor opposing this, Putin. His only card is the ability to kill, and he is trying to sell the cessation of killings at the highest possible price. It is important that this does not mislead anyone. Results are needed at the leaders' level. Dignified results, results that will save lives, that the world will value, and for which it will be grateful to the leader who delivers them. Everyone clearly sees Putin's tactics. He fears sanctions and is doing everything to bail on them. He wants to exchange a pause in the war, in the killings, for the legalization of the occupation of our land. He wants to get territorial spoils for the second time. Putin was allowed to take Crimea, and this led to the occupation in Donetsk and Luhansk regions. He received no preventive punishment when he amassed a contingent on our borders. This led to the full-scale war and the occupation of even more parts of Ukraine. Now Putin wants to be forgiven for seizing the south of our Kherson region, Zaporizhia, the entire territory of Luhansk and Donetsk regions, and Crimea. We will not allow this second attempt to partition Ukraine. Knowing Russia, where there is a second, there will be a third. That is why we stand firm, on clear Ukrainian positions. We must end the war with a dignified peace, based on a clear and reliable security architecture. Our partners are ready to help us with this. We have just had a report from our team in the UK, from Andriy Yermak. There were talks among the security representatives of the US and Europe, Ukraine, the US Vice President Vance, the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, Poland. The meeting was constructive. The path to peace for Ukraine must be determined together with Ukraine. This is fundamental. It is important that joint approaches and a shared vision work toward genuine peace. A consolidated position, ceasefire, end of occupation, end of war. Ukraine is ready for real decisions that can bring peace. Any decisions that are against us, any decisions that are without Ukraine, are at the same time decisions against peace. They will not achieve anything. These are stillborn decisions. They are unworkable decisions, and we all need real and genuine peace. Peace that people will respect. President Trump announced preparations for his meeting with Putin in Alaska, very far away from this war, which is raging on our land, against our people, and which anyway can't be ended without us, without Ukraine. Putin did not believe in our people and therefore made the hopeless decision to try to take Ukraine. This was his main mistake, not taking Ukrainians into account. I believe in our people. Ukrainians are strong. Ukrainians defend what's theirs. Many in the world have sided with Ukraine during the war. Even those who are with Russia know that Russia is doing evil. Of course, we will not reward Russia for what it has perpetrated. The Ukrainian people deserve peace. But all partners must understand what a dignified peace is. This war must be brought to an end, and Russia must end it. Russia started it and is dragging it out, ignoring all deadlines, and that is the problem, not something else. The answer to the Ukrainian territorial question already is in the constitution of Ukraine. No one will deviate from this, and no one will be able to. Ukrainians will not gift their land to the occupier. We are ready to work together with President Trump, together with all our partners for real and, most importantly, lasting peace. A peace that will not collapse because of Moscow's desires. I thank all our people for being together. Ukraine is. I thank all our soldiers for preserving our independence. Stand firm, this is our land, we are Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine. There is already a lot of support, and it comes in the new circumstances, with a deadline now set for Russia to cease fire. So far, we see that the Russians are ignoring it, at least for now. Today has once again brought killings and Russian shelling. Over 100 strike drones were launched overnight against Ukraine, followed during the day by air bomb strikes, intense assaults on the front line, and yet more air raid alerts in our cities and communities. No orders to stop have been given to the Russian army. We are speaking with our partners to ensure real steps are taken. We are in constant communication with the American side, and our partners, for their part, are also engaging with the United States. All are united in the understanding that there is a chance to achieve at least a ceasefire, and that everything depends on the right pressure on Russia. I had a good conversation with President of Finland Alexander Stubb. We are coordinating positions for the most productive joint work with America. It is important that America has the determination and the ability to end the war, and we welcome President Trump's desire to stop the killings. To respond to Russia's intention to prolong the war and seize territorial spoils, we must act wisely and in coordination. Thank you for your support, Alexander. Ukraine and Finland have the longest borders with Russia in Europe, and our people know very well what threats this brings. We agreed to continue working together for our common security. I spoke with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. I am grateful for the support. We share the same view on the need for a truly lasting peace for Ukraine and on the danger of Russia's plan to reduce everything to discussing the impossible. Clear steps are needed, as well as maximum coordination between us and our partners. We value the determination of the United Kingdom, the United States, and all our partners to end the war. We are actively working for constructive diplomacy and to ensure that the decisions can work. We agreed on further contacts. I spoke with Prime Minister of Spain Pedro Sanchez. I am grateful for Spain's support for Ukraine and our people. I informed about the diplomatic situation and our contacts with partners, and shared our vision of what the next steps should be. The main thing now is to ensure that Russia does not once again impose its unrealistic conditions on anyone. It is important that Pedro and I share the same view. Europe's voice must be taken into account. We are coordinating our common European position. We are ready to move as quickly and constructively as possible toward a just peace. We also discussed Ukraine's path toward European integration. Ukraine has fulfilled all its obligations and is fully ready to open the first negotiating cluster. We discussed possible options and will look for solutions. We agreed to stay in touch. Thank you. I spoke with President of France Emmanuel Macron. I am grateful for the support. We exchanged views on the diplomatic situation. Ukraine, France, and all our partners are ready to work as productively as possible for the sake of real peace. It is truly important that the Russians do not succeed in deceiving anyone again. We all need a genuine end to the war and reliable security foundations for Ukraine and other European nations. I spoke with the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen. I am grateful for the support. We discussed the diplomatic situation and communication with partners, both ours and Mette's. These days, diplomatic activity is extremely high. However, we see no changes in Russia's position. The Russians still refuse to stop the killings, still invest in the war, and still push the idea of exchanging Ukrainian territory for Ukrainian territory, with consequences that guarantee nothing except more favorable positions for Russia to resume the war. All our steps must bring us closer to a real end to the war, not its reconfiguration. And our joint decisions with partners must serve our common security. We also discussed with Mette our work toward EU membership, and the progress on this path for both Ukraine and Moldova. We share the same view on the need for a fair approach and the fulfillment of commitments for Ukraine and Moldova together. Thank you.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Nigeria police force has refuted claims that its men manhandled Sahara Reporters publisher Omiyele Sowore inside cell after the media personnel honored the invitation sent him from the Office of the Inspector General of Police, IGP, over allegations of forgery and criminal defamation of characters, with the police stating in a press release signed and made available after the detained media publisher was released on Friday night that Sowore allegedly brought bandages alongside other personal items when he came to the station to honor the police invitation, and when the IGP ordered internal investigation to ascertain if truly the media publisher was tortured as claimed, Sowore refused to allow medical personnel from the Nigeria police force check the alleged injury on his hand he had claimed he suffered as a result of the police personnel brutality while inside cell. Meanwhile, as at the time Sowore was released on Friday night, bandages were still seen wrapped around one of his hands as seen in the video while he was coming out from the IGP Rapid Response Team, IRT police detention facilities in Abuja, as stated by Sowore in the video. Shortly after his release from detention facilities at the IGP Rapid Response Team on Friday, Sowore posted on his social media handles and said that, "Freedom is never given. It is not a gift from the powerful, nor a token handed down by the oppressor. It must be seized with raw courage, with clarity, and with collective will. Those who sit in power never give it up willingly. That's why we take it back. Because freedom is ours and we will fight until it is no longer a dream but a lived reality." Nigeria Police Force, in a statement issued on August 8, 2025 and made available to the public, said, "The Nigeria Police Force is compelled to address and decisively correct the recent wave of disinformation being peddled in connection with the lawful arrest and detention of Mr. Omiyele Sowore, a figure known for manipulating public narratives and weaponizing propaganda to malign state institutions and their leadership, particularly the Office of the Inspector General of Police. Contrary to the falsehoods being circulated, Mr. Sowore was arrested based on credible, corroborated allegations involving criminal offenses such as forgery, cyberstalking, and other infractions currently under active investigation. The arrest was effected in full compliance with extant legal provisions, and with strict adherence to constitutional safeguards, due process, and the rights of the suspect. To be clear, Mr. Sowore was released on bail well within the 48-hour constitutional window, in accordance with the provisions of Section 35(4) of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended. He is fully aware of the nature of the allegations against him and has been duly informed of the charges. He is expected to appear before a court of competent jurisdiction in the coming days to answer to the accusations in a lawful and transparent judicial process. Equally false and grossly misleading is the narrative suggesting that Mr. Sowore was tortured or subjected to any form of inhuman or degrading treatment while in custody. The Nigeria police force maintains a zero-tolerance policy for torture, in alignment with the provisions of the Anti-Torture Act, 2017, and in fulfillment of Nigeria's obligations under applicable international human rights instruments. The viral image of Mr. Sowore with a bandaged arm has been mischievously presented to mislead the public and stir unwarranted outrage. For the record, the bandage was part of his personal belongings at the time he honored the police's invitation, prior to his arrest and detention. In any case, upon receiving the report that Mr. Sowore was later seen wearing the bandage while in custody, the Inspector General of Police promptly ordered an internal investigation to ascertain how he had access to it during detention, particularly in light of his consistent refusal to undergo medical examination by the independent teams deployed by the police. This proactive step underscores the IGP's unwavering commitment to transparency, professionalism, and strict adherence to established custodial protocols. In the spirit of accountability and transparency, the force promptly responded to the claims of brutality by dispatching a medical team, led by the medical director of the Muhammadu Buhari Police Hospital, to conduct an independent examination on the 7th of August 2025. Mr. Sowore declined the evaluation. A second medical team, this time led by the force medical officer, was sent on the 8th of August 2025, and again, access was denied by the suspect. These refusals are officially documented. While the police respect the individual's right to decline medical assessment, the record must show that the opportunity for independent medical verification was twice provided and twice rejected. Furthermore, his continued detention is not arbitrary. It is anchored on a valid remand order issued by a competent court of jurisdiction. Every action taken by the Nigeria police force in this matter has been underpinned by legal authority, devoid of malice, bias, or political undertones. The force urges the media, civil society actors, and the public to exercise greater diligence, restraint, and professional responsibility in their reporting. Sensationalism, particularly when driven by those with personal vendettas against the police leadership, poses a clear risk to public trust and the integrity of ongoing investigations. The Nigeria police force reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the protection of human rights, respect for the rule of law, and the pursuit of justice without fear or favor. No individual, regardless of their status, influence, or social media reach, is above the law. Further updates on this matter will be provided as investigations proceed in accordance with due process. We had reported that the human rights activist and founder of Sahara Reporters News Network, Omiyele Sowore, has been reportedly manhandled on Thursday early morning inside police cell by officers from the Inspector General of Police, IGP Monitoring Unit, after the journalist honored the invitation sent him from the Office of the Inspector General of Police for a reason not stated, but the media personnel working with Omiyele Sowore in a statement on Thursday, made available through the verified personal social media handles of Sowore, said that the police presented 2 petitions against Sowore over alleged forgery and defamation of character, adding that some police officers from the IGP monitoring unit as early as 6 a.m. on Thursday entered Sowore's cell at the Force Intelligence Department in Abuja, with alleged pretense to take the media publisher to court, but when the journalist demanded to see the charges against him, he was allegedly handled roughly by a team of armed policemen. This, Barrister Adeyanju Deji petitioned the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, demanding the immediate dismissal of the IGP, Kayode Egbetoken, for allegedly abusing his office by thus using his high-ranking office in the Nigeria police force to settle personal scores, although the Nigeria police force has not reacted to these allegations, but the force in a press release on Thursday afternoon, apparently made statements in relation to the current matters involving the detained media publisher, Omiyele Sowore, by insisting and stating in the press statement that the recent promotions in the Nigeria police force was based on merit, and not selective, accusing an unnamed online platform of allegedly sponsoring deliberate falsehood to tarnish the image of the force, while also calling on officers and men of the force to desist from lobbying to get promoted, saying, The IGP has warned that any police personnel caught lobbying to get promotion will be made to face disciplinary action.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is me here. Tonight I've just been released by the police. You know, we told them that you can't sustain this, but they hear what now. So I'm in front of the IRT, just been released from detention after 48 hours by the illegal IGP and his people. What I told them when they arrested me is the same thing they are now living with. The fact that we can't hold an idea whose time has come. But I want to thank every one of you out there who's worked very hard, stayed all this night up late, ensuring that they didn't get away with this crime against humanity. And I'm just very excited to let you know that now.
Revolution! No! Revolution! No!
So sorry about your heart.
All right, guys. So we're going back to work.
Aluta continues. Their father's father. Yep. You don't get who they fear for the full country. Yes, it's spite their hand, their papa.
Yes, now.
It's spite their hand, we are going on.
We're going back to work, man. You know, okay. So we'll talk to you guys very much later in the evening after I will see a doctor now. But I want to thank our great lawyers, as you can see them. I thank my brother here. I'm the older brother, by the way. You guys know I came very well. He has not slept since I left. And thank you, Mr. Thank you so much for great music, fireworks, all you guys out there, Black Boy. Very grateful to all of you. The revolution has just started.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there's not anybody can go there. An idea whose time.
How rich?
So, we'll be talking to you much later because I have to check your hands. Once in a while, they have to try us to see whether we are still the people we say we are. Yes. So when they try it and it doesn't work, then they capitulate. All right. So thank you, everybody. You know, today I'm going to give them a bit of a break. Atiku, thank you. I heard you issue a statement. Peter Obi, thank you. Deji, man, I don't know where you are. Everybody was talking about here, Deji Adeyan too. Very dark man, Babaye, Juwon, take it back, guys. Mama P. Oh, Mama P, yes. I've never met you, even though I've heard a lot about you in Abuja. I hope to meet you one of these days. I saw Wise Man in Lagos, Jamil, everybody that's seeking, yeah, you know, A3, and a crew that came all the way from Lagos. I think they came here for a purpose and found this and joined them. And I have to also especially thank all those retired policemen that I saw today. They melted my heart. They came and fought this battle. We are together until the exit CPS, and all our police friends. We have already created a police movement, so they will hear from them very soon. So they will hear. But there's no time to take time, man. Revolution now.
Femi.
Oh, yes. Oh, Femi Falana. You know, how do you thank Femi Falana? Now it's a special broadcast now. Yes. Femi, thank you so much. And everyone, I know there's a lot of people I need to thank individually. I'll be calling you as soon as I have some time. But like I said, this is This wasn't even a vacation, it was part of the work. And we are going back to work. Thank you.
Osazuwakan Radio, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Human rights activist and founder of Sahara Reporters News Network, Omiyele Sowore has been reportedly manhandled on Thursday early morning inside police cell by officers from the Inspector General of Police, IGP Monitoring Unit, after the journalist honored the invitation sent him from the Office of the Inspector General of Police for a reason not stated, but the media personnel working with Omiyele Sowore in a statement on Thursday, made available through the verified personal social media handles of Sowore, said that the police presented 2 petitions against Sowore over alleged forgery and defamation of character, adding that some police officers from the IGP monitoring unit as early as 6 a.m. on Thursday entered Sowore's cell at the Force Intelligence Department in Abuja, with alleged pretense to take the media publisher to court, but when the journalist demanded to see the charges against him, he was allegedly handled roughly by a team of armed policemen. This, Barrister Adiyanju Deji petitioned the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, demanding the immediate dismissal of the IGP, Kayode Egbetoken, for allegedly abusing his office by thus using his high-ranking office in the Nigeria police force to settle personal scores, although the Nigeria police force has not reacted to these allegations, but the force in a press release on Thursday afternoon, apparently made statements in relation to the current matters involving the detained media publisher, Omiyele Sowore, by insisting and stating in the press statement that the recent promotions in the Nigeria police force was based on merit, and not selective, accusing an unnamed online platform of allegedly sponsoring deliberate falsehoods to tarnish the image of the force, while also calling on officers and men of the force to desist from lobbying to get promoted, saying, the IGP has warned that any police personnel caught lobbying to get promotion will be made to face disciplinary action. According to the post published via Sowore's social media handles, the media team of the publisher said, this morning at 6 a.m., a police team led by a chief superintendent of police from the IGP monitoring unit forcibly gained entry into Omiyele Sowore's cell at the Force Intelligence Department in Abuja, claiming they were taking him to court. The team of 9 officers, including 8 heavily armed personnel, handled Sowore roughly when he asked to see the charges and notify his lawyers, breaking his arm in the process, before taking him to another police facility, the media team stated. In another post, the media said, the notorious former SARS officer, DCP Akin Fakorede, presented 2 petitions to Sowore from the illegal IGP's office, one alleged forgery and the second written by Bukola Yemisi Kuti, who was promoted to ACP because she's mistress, alleges criminal defamation. Sowore had, before honoring the police invitation on Wednesday, said in a number of posts previous day that the IGP monitoring unit has scheduled my interview for tomorrow at 11 a.m., yet they have refused to provide a copy of the purported petition against me. It is now clear that their intention is to conceal the sinister plan of the illegal IGP and continue operating in darkness. Despite this, I will honor the invitation, but not alone. I will be going with a full house. To all our revolutionary comrades, as always, we move together. Let every freedom fighter, every citizen of conscience, every voice of resistance assemble early tomorrow at the Nigeria Police Force headquarters in Abuja. Revolutiono, Egbetoken must go. They say the illegal IGP spoke today and sent fresh threats against us. We heard that the illegal Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoken, has issued fresh threats. But even his voice betrays him. His voice was cracked by incompetence, weighed down by immorality, nepotism, favoritism, tribalism. It was worn thin by the burden of failed leadership. We are Nigerian citizens who have faced down tyrants, dictators, and power-drunk men in and out of uniform. We've survived worse, and we've conquered. No amount of intimidation, propaganda, or empty threats can shake our resolve or derail our desire for a better, just, and dignified society. Aluta Continua, the Nigeria Police Force, in a statement signed and made available by the force spokesperson, DCP Olumiyiwa Adejobi, said, "The Nigeria police force has observed with concern the growing wave of lobbying and unofficial requests directed at the Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission by certain officers seeking special promotions. This surge was triggered by the misinformation being spread by certain media platforms following the recent approval of accelerated promotions for a number of deserving officers who have distinguished themselves through exemplary service. The force wishes to categorically state that these accelerated promotions were not arbitrary but were part of a well-structured reward system set up by the police leadership, aimed at recognizing officers who have demonstrated outstanding performance, uncommon bravery, professional excellence, and commitment to duty, and the officers who benefited with those who met the standardized guidelines for such accelerated promotion. The recent exercise does not signify the commencement of a general or indiscriminate special promotion scheme. In light of recent misleading reports sponsored by a particular online platform suggesting that the police force has initiated arbitrary promotions, the Nigeria police force firmly cautions the public to disregard such falsehoods. These reports are baseless, misleading, and intended to undermine the integrity of the force's promotion process. The NPF remains committed to transparency, merit, and due process in all personnel decisions. Furthermore, officers are strongly cautioned against lobbying or attempting to influence the promotion process through unofficial means. Such conduct is unethical, undermines the principles of meritocracy and professionalism, and will attract severe disciplinary action in accordance with extant laws and regulations. The Nigeria police force reiterates its commitment to a promotion system anchored on integrity, verifiable merit, and honorable service to the nation. Officers and men are hereby urged to remain dedicated, maintain discipline, and continue to discharge their duties with pride and distinction, the police stated. Human rights lawyer, Barrister Adeyanju Deji, in a reaction to the photograph of Omolayé Soware's hand wrapped with bandages at the police detention facility, said, Egbetoken, the most useless IGP in the history of Nigeria police, has ordered the detention of Sowore for criticizing his incompetent and favoritism promotions and other numerous infractions. How do you promote your personal staff arbitrarily just like that? The Police Act 2020 and Regulation 367 of the Nigeria Police Regulations forbids a police officer from settling personal scores and vendetta via the instrumentalities of their officers, but Egbetoken is too shameless to care and continue to abuse his office. President Tinubu must sack him now. Egbetoken must go. In an open letter and petition to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Adeyanju Deji said, and in quotes, that, Your Excellency, with utmost respect for the office you occupy, I write to draw your attention to the deepening rot within the Nigeria Police Force, NPF, which, if left unchecked, threatens to completely erode public trust and destroy the very institution meant to protect us all. Under the watch of the current Inspector General of Police, the force has become increasingly compromised by a pattern of conduct that has brought the institution into disrepute. The NPF has become personalized and weaponized, with growing reports of the force being used to settle personal scores and intimidate private citizens. The civic space has shrunk under a climate of fear. Peaceful expression, association, and lawful dissent are now treated with suspicion or outright hostility by an institution that should protect these freedoms. More disturbingly, the men and women who serve in the police force continue to operate under conditions that are nothing short of inhumane. Reports of nepotism, favoritism, and ethnic promotions above competence and institutional framework has become order of the day. Officers lack adequate welfare, modern equipment, proper housing, and fair remuneration, resulting into the recent police protest. The morale of the average policeman is low, and yet they are still expected to perform optimally. A force that is deprived of dignity cannot enforce the law with dignity. The NPF urgently needs reform, but reform cannot happen under leadership that undermines its very principles. It is in light of this that I respectfully urge you to act decisively by relieving the current Inspector General of Police of his duties and appointing a leader with a clear commitment to constitutional order and human rights. Yours faithfully, Deji Adeyanju Esquire. Punch newspaper reported that the coalition of united political parties and the Arewa youth ambassadors have called for the immediate and unconditional release of pro-democracy activist and journalist, Omoyele Sowore, following his recent arrest by the Nigeria police force. In separate statements on Thursday, both groups condemned the arrest, describing it as a violation of Sowore's constitutional rights and an abuse of police authority. National Secretary of CUPP, Peter Ame, said Sowore's detention flouts Section 39 of the Nigerian Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression and opinion. He said the police had turned into an instrument of oppression and called for accountability. We strongly condemn the arrest of Omoyele Sowore by the Nigerian police, an act that flouts Section 39 of the Nigerian Constitution, which guarantees the fundamental right to freedom of expression, including the freedom to hold opinions and share ideas without interference. This arrest is not only unjust but also a disturbing misuse of police power, turning an institution meant to protect Nigerians into a tool for oppression and personal vendettas. This arrest is a blatant abuse of power and an affront to the principles of justice and accountability enshrined in the Constitution. The Nigerian police owe Nigerians a clear explanation for Sowore's arrest. Denying him his right to bail is indefensible and further exposes the misuse of authority to silence dissent. We demand his immediate and unconditional release, and if the Inspector General believes there is a case to answer, Sowore should be charged to court without delay, he stated. The Arewa youth ambassadors, in a separate statement signed by their national coordinator, Yahaya Abdullahi, also condemned Sowore's continued detention and gave the federal authorities a 72-hour ultimatum to release him or face protests across the 19 northern states and the federal capital territory. The group said Sowore's arrest was part of a pattern of harassment, alleging that state institutions were being misused to suppress dissent. They warned that a continued clampdown on critics could erode democratic values and civic freedoms. In line with this, the Arewa youth ambassadors hereby issue a 72-hour ultimatum to the Nigerian authorities to release Sowore or face nationwide protests in all 19 northern states and the federal capital territory. We will mobilize peaceful mass action in solidarity with Sowore and in defense of the fundamental rights of all Nigerians to freedom of expression and assembly. We call on all progressive forces, civil society groups, student unions, labor movements, and the general public, to rise in unity against the growing tyranny and misuse of state power. Nigeria belongs to us all, and no government has the right to crush dissent in a democratic society, the statement added. The police are yet to issue an official response to the reason for Sowore's arrest.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Anambra is no doubt one of the states in Nigeria experiencing incessant and very high rates of kidnapping that in some cases do lead to the death of the abducted victims and killing of security operatives and some other persons around the scene of the mostly monetary crimes of hostage-taking for a ransom. Specifically, our crime reporters gathered that there is hardly no week without 1 or 2 persons being kidnapped along the Onitsha-Owerri Federal Road in Anambra State, especially between Oba community and Ihiala town, as we gathered that most victims of kidnapping in the state are hard-working small and medium-sized business owners who most of whom struggled out of poverty to become wealthy successful traders. This, we learnt, there may be no wealthy successful business owner along the Ihiala-Olu road left to be kidnapped or forced to pay ransom to the kidnappers, while in Oba, wealthy people are being kidnapped quietly and ransom in millions are paid in silence to the kidnappers. According to members of the community, a young successful businessman was kidnapped recently at a location between the Oba New Road and Old Road junctions shortly after he visited his building construction site, while we also learned that some people in the state do report or contract their friends to kidnappers just to get a share from the ransom that will be paid afterwards, or when such people have issue or dispute with their friends or co-traders. It may interest you to know that the Anambra State Police Command recently arrested a 24-year-old male suspect, Muananye Victor, for allegedly luring his friend to be kidnapped by his criminal gang in Uli, Ihiala local government area of the state, and they reportedly collected a ransom in dollars equivalent to 5.3 million nairas with his gang members, just as gunmen in a not too long distance time abducted a lawyer and 2 other persons in Inpologwu, Aguata local government area of Anambra, in addition to previous cases of kidnapping of the owner of the Porsche Club, Chief Ibia Orji, by unknown gunmen after the gunmen killed numbers of persons along the New Oba Newi Road in Idemili South local government area of Anambra State, with the number of those killed at the Porsche nightclub said to be 7, but one of the security operatives was beheaded, and another had his foot cut off and made away with by the invading deadly kidnappers. This occurred shortly after a well-known native doctor or witch doctor, Chidozie Nwangu aka Akwa Okoko Tiwaraki, was kidnapped, after his 2 personal aides killed in the vicinity of his hotel at Oba community before the kidnappers effortlessly took him away and was released after ransom in millions were reportedly paid. That not all, on May 21, 2022, shortly after Professor Chukwuma Soludo was sworn in as governor, gunmen abducted the lawmaker representing Aguata 2 constituency in the State House of Assembly, Okechukwu Okoye, also known as Okidai represented Soludo's state constituency. Isuofia Okoye was killed and beheaded alongside his aide, Cyril Chiegboka, 6 days after they were abducted along Agulazigbo Road, Anaoka local government area of the state, and their heads and bodies dumped along a roadside in the state. And in December 2024, another lawmaker in the State House of Assembly was kidnapped and killed, and the victim, the lifeless body of the member representing Onitsha North 1 constituency in the Anambra State House of Assembly, Justice Azuka, was found along the Second Niger Bridge, with Azuka's lifeless body, said to be already decomposing, was found by a joint team of security operatives 44 days after he was kidnapped on December 24, 2024. Along the Ugunarabankpo Road in Inland Town, Onitsha, while returning home for Christmas. And the most prominent among the incessant cases of kidnapping in the state is Martins Onyekesi, well known as Fish Magnet. The kidnapping and subsequent killing of the young small business owner sparked protest and public awareness like never before, with a social right activist, Martins Ots aka Veridakman, coming to the state earlier on Sunday and led a protest walk on Tuesday which was tagged Candlelight Procession March in honor of Fish Magnet, one of the most recent victims of the unabated deadly monetary kidnapping business apparently thriving in Anambra like some other states in Nigeria, with Veridakman saying during the protest that it may be right to say that kidnappers killed Fish Magnet, but the actual killers are the administrative failures of Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, the state governor, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, General Christopher Musa, the Nigeria Chief of Defense Staff, Kayode Egbetoken, the Inspector General of Police, and the local government area chairman or mayor, and accused them of incompetence in managing security matters in the state and the country at large, while the Anambra State Police Command spokesperson, Tochukwu Okenga, who also joined the campaign, said, the campaign walk was not only about Fish Magnet but a bold statement collectively made by Anambra youths in solidarity and in support of the efforts of the security agencies in the state against killings and other crimes. After the protest, Veridakman stated in a post that, I'm glad I found this online, and like I clearly said, Fish Magnet was killed by Chukwuma Charles Soludo. He was killed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Rest in peace my namesake, Martins Onyekesi Efesanachi. Dear at Fish Magnet, you sent me a DM and I didn't see it. Even if I had seen it I wouldn't have responded because I have other priorities and a lot of issues going on, and I always think people gift me things to have me advertise for them, so I don't accept gift. When I saw your post on Tunde Ednut page I actually commented something funny to let you know I saw it. You are gone now and I sincerely wish I had collected the fish from you. I will like to also beg Nigerians to support his business so his legacy continues. It should not be a case where because he is no more and then people will stop the patronage. The office and business is still operating. Follow at Fish Magnet. They deliver nationwide. Lol, I finally did the advert for you and you won't even see it. Rest on King my namesake. Tochukwu Akenga, the Anambra State Police Command spokesperson, in a post, also said, it was a walk for peace, a stand against violent crime. The youths of Anambra came out in their numbers in a symbolic walk for peace, a collective stance against violent crime. It was not just a march for Fish Magnet, it was a show of solidarity with the Nigeria police and other security agencies, a bold statement to condemn all forms of criminality. Together, they echoed a clear message: enough is enough. Criminals can no longer be allowed to terrorize Anambra State and the southeast region. The time has come for unity, vigilance, and community-driven action for a safer Anambra. Anambra State Association of Town Union, ASATU, Youth President, Comrade Kenekoli, as well as Anambra State Commissioner for Youth Development, Mr. Patrick Akamba, were also at the event, with almost all the protesters dressed in black and black, marched from Aroma Junction in the state capital to the fish magnet factory in Awka. The protest did not take place without an earlier warning issued against Volodymyr by the police. The Nigeria police force had in a statement said, the Commissioner of Police, Anambra State Command, CP Ikue Oratugu, FWCMNIPS PhD, has issued a stern warning to social media influencer, Mr. Martins Vincent Ots, popularly known as Volodymyr, cautioning him against making statements or taking actions capable of inciting tension or breaching public peace within the state. The CP noted the decision of the family of the late Mr. Afesinachi Onyekere, managing director of Fish Magnet Outlet, to publicly dissociate themselves from any proposed or ongoing candlelight procession or memorial gathering being organized in his name. They therefore pleaded that they should allow the family to grieve privately while trusting the authorities to do their work. The CP emphasized that Anambra State remains one of the most peaceful in the region due to the sustained efforts of the police and other security agencies, in collaboration with critical stakeholders. He stressed that no individual, regardless of social status, would be allowed to disrupt the existing peace and security architecture of the state. CP Oratugu urged residents and visitors alike to go about their lawful duties without fear, reaffirming the command's commitment to maintaining law and order. He further advised social media users and public figures to exercise restraint and avoid spreading misinformation or making inciting remarks. The command further warns that anyone found undermining public peace, either online or offline, will face the full weight of the law. We had reported that the Anambra State government under the leadership of Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo has said that the state is currently in search of justice over the killing of a young and creative fish farmer, Martins Afesinachi Onyekesi, well known by his business name as Fish Magnet, who was reportedly shot on the leg while being kidnapped on Sunday the 27th of July 2025, at his residence in Ezinifite village, Okpuno in Awka, the Anambra State capital. This, Dr. George Moghalu, the Labour Party candidate in the forthcoming governorship election in the state, said that Anambra State is no longer safe, adding that people are being killed, slaughtered for their families to bury in silence, while the state governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, looks the other way, with no sympathy, condolence visit or statement. Specifically, Moghalu said, I must speak frankly, Anambra is no longer safe. Not even in the state capital, our people are being slaughtered, kidnapped, and buried in silence while the government looks the other way. This is not leadership, it is abandonment. Just recently, we lost over 10 lives in a ghastly accident at Amici, Newi South local government area, yet there was no statement, no condolence, not even a visit from the state government. Instead, we see street renamings and political endorsement rallies. Where is our conscience? Moghalu stated, while the former lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, the detained Biafra agitation leader, Barrister Afeni Ejiofor, said the people of the state are currently romancing with crimes, hiding criminals, and painting absurd narratives on social media to glorify and justify the rising crimes in the state, saying, the most frightening part, the reckless energy our own people expend defending these killers. When you shield murderers because they are your kinsmen, you embolden them. When you justify kidnappings under the guise of ethnic pride, you leave the gates wide open for the real external aggressors, like armed herdsmen, whose invasion will come when we are weakest and most divided.
They said kidnappers killed fish magnates. But in actual sense, it is the government that killed fish magnates. Yes. In actual sense, it is Charles Soludo that killed fish magnates. Yes. In actual sense, it is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that killed fish magnates. In actual sense, it is the local government chairman that killed fish magnates. In actual sense, it is the IG of police that killed fish magnates. In actual sense, it is the chief of defense staff and the chief of army staff that killed fish magnates. Yes. Because we pay our tax. We pay our tax. 32,000. Anambra State. Nigeria is a very rich country. We have the money to have more policemen with more ammunition, more guns that can protect everybody. But for some reason, these people don't care. Your children are living abroad. You don't go to our schools. You don't use our hospitals. All your kids are outside. That's why you will never understand the insecurity that we face. They can never understand. I look at the faces of people here and I say, plenty of us go see die. Plenty of us go see die. The inevitability of death has not changed. Plenty of us go see die. And you know why? Because the government don't care. They don't care. They only care about their pockets and their own family. Their selfish interests. Make it make sense. They say na headsmen for how many years? Which headsmen? Everybody keep quiet. They start for Jos. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Borno. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Kaduna, that's 3 states. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Taraba, say 4. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Benue, say 5. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Edo. 6. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Bayelsa. 7. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Anambra. 8. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Enugu. 9. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Imo State. 10. There's no place they know this. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Abia. 11. Everybody keep quiet. They enter Rivers State. 12. What have we done? Everybody keep quiet. They enter Ebonyi. 13. Everybody see the fight as we talk now. For how long? For how long? Say na like this people they gather every time. For how long? No! The government needs to do better. Yes! Please, government, we are begging you. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, protect us. Governor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, protect us. Yes. The governor of Edo State, protect your people. The governor of Benue State, protect your people. Then they kill people and they plan for election. By the time they kill all of us, we will know who go vote you. Very soon, there will be nobody to vote politician again. Because they will not kill everybody finish. Imagine killing over 200 people in one state. How many remain? Human beings for Nigeria don't turn dogs. Human beings for Nigeria don't turn cows. Chicken. Farmers go farm, they'll kill them. It's a problem. They beg me. A sadness, because we are supposed to gather because of happiness to celebrate. But it's so sad that we are gathered here today because of the demise of a young blood like every one of us. Whose name is Fish Magnet. Fish Magnet is a victim of the incompetence of our security. Now, excuse you, let me explain. Right? Let me explain. Before I came here, let me just break down something. They actually wanted to stop this because they thought I am political. maybe I want to do politics for one person against this governor or against this government. But I don't care about politics. It's not my business. We are not doing politics. If person don't die, if security there, you not go gather here. If person security there, nobody will come here. A lot of things need to be done. So now, we are going to take a walk to Fish Magnet office to be a very easy walk. This walk, the reason for it is simple. First of all, it's a tribute to Fish Magnet and also an awareness to the government. Some of us will be alive for years. You know, this next month, if this kind of continues. Don't get resisted. Some of us for years, you know, do this next year. If you don't talk, don't think you are too precious. What happened to Fish Magnet? Some people say, nothing happened to me in a lie. A lie. I have witnessed countless killings in my life. It's just part of it.
Okay, thank you everyone. What you are seeing today is not only against Fish Magnet, but this is a collective will of Anambra, all the youth of Anambra, standing with the security agencies to make sure that the killings in Anambra is reduced to drastic level. And they are ready to work with the security agencies to provide information on issues that concern security. What you are seeing today is just a replica of the collective will of Anambra to make sure that the security is very, very stable in Anambra. Thank you.
And as you can see, what is going on here, we are going to demonstrate our pains, how we feel.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Ghana Minister of Defense, Edward Omain Boma, alongside 7 other top government officials and military personnel have been confirmed dead, after Ghana Armed Forces in a statement on Wednesday had declared the Z-9 military helicopter missing, stating, the helicopter traveling from the nation capital in Accra to Obuasi in Ashanti region went off from radar at 9:12 a.m. with 3 crew members and 5 passengers on board. Others killed in the helicopter crash, as confirmed by the Office of the President of Ghana, include Dr. Alhaji Murtala Mohammed, MP for Tamale Central, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Alhaji Munaru Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, Dr. Samuel Sarpong, Vice Chairman of the NDC, Samuel Aboagye, former parliamentary candidate, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Twumampadu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. It was gathered that the military helicopter went down at Adansi Akrofam in the Ashanti region on Wednesday, for yet to be stated cause of the incident, as video footage showed the burnt beyond recognition bodies of those on board the aircraft. The aircraft was from Accra and heading for Obuasi and is currently off the radar. All efforts are being made to establish contact, the Ghana Armed Forces had stated in a statement earlier on Wednesday. The government of Ghana has directed that all national flags be flown at half-mast in honor of the late government top officials, Edward Omain Boma, Minister for Defense, and Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, among others, who died in the military helicopter crash. According to local media, the fatal incident occurred on Wednesday, August 6, in the Adansi Akrofam district of the Ashanti region, while the 2 ministers, along with 6 others, were en route to Obuasi for official duties. Announcing the directive, Chief of Staff Julius Deborah expressed the government's deep sorrow regarding the loss of the 2 senior public officials and others on board the helicopter. The president is emotionally down. The vice president is leading a team to formally inform the families. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu told news reporters following the tragic helicopter crash that claimed the lives of top government officials, including the defense and environment ministers. While announcing the death of all passengers and crew members on board, the Ghana Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, said, on behalf of the President of the Republic, His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Apoku Agumang, who is with us here, and the Government of Ghana, I have the unpleasant duty, sadly, to announce a national tragedy involving the crash of a military helicopter this morning around the Adansi area in the Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash. Dr. Edward Kofi Omain Boma, Minister for Defense. Al-Haji, Dr. Ibrahim Matala Mohammed, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Al-Haji Munaru Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture. Dr. Samuel Sarpong, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, and Samuel Aboagye, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Barthemi Anala, Flying Officer Manine Twumampadu, Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. The President and Government extend our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice, Julius Debra, Chief of Staff stated in a press briefing.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who is with us here, and the government of Ghana, I have the unpleasant duty, sadly, to announce a national tragedy involving the crash of a military helicopter this morning around the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash. Dr. Edward Kofi Omain Boma, Minister for Defense. Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Matala Mohammed, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Alhaji Muniru Mohammed Lemonad, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture. Dr. Samuel Sarpong, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, and Mr. Samuel Aboagye, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Barthemi Anala, Flying Officer Manine Twumampadu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. The President and Government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice. Thank you.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Anambra State Government under the leadership of Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo has said that the state is currently in search of justice over the killing of a young and creative fish farmer, Martin Zafesinachi Onyekesi, well known by his business name as Fish Magnet, who was reportedly shot on the leg while being kidnapped on Sunday the 27th of July 2025, at his residence in Ezinifite village, Okpuno in Awka, the Anambra State capital. This, Dr. George Moghalu, the Labour Party candidate in the forthcoming governorship election in the state, said that Anambra State is no longer safe, adding that people are being killed, slaughtered for their families to bury in silence, while the state governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, looks the other way, with no sympathy, condolence visit or statement. Specifically, Moghalu said, "I must speak frankly, Anambra is no longer safe, not even in the state capital. Our people are being slaughtered, kidnapped, and buried in silence while the government looks the other way. This is not leadership, it is abandonment." Just recently, we lost over 10 lives in a ghastly accident at Amici, Newi South local government area, yet there was no statement, no condolence, not even a visit from the state government. Instead, we see street renamings and political endorsement rallies. Where is our conscience? Moghalu stated, while the former lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, the detained Biafra agitation leader, Barrister Afeni Ejiofor, said the people of the state are currently romancing with crimes, hiding criminals, and painting absurd narratives on social media to glorify and justify the rising crimes in the state, saying, "The most frightening part, the reckless energy our own people expend defending these killers. When you shield murderers because they are your kinsmen, you embolden them. When you justify kidnappings under the guise of ethnic pride, you leave the gates wide open for the real external aggressors, like armed herdsmen, whose invasion will come when we are weakest and most divided." Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Law Mefa made the government position known on Sunday after he led other government officials on a condolence visit to the bereaved mother of the victim, who happened to be the woman leader of the Anambra State All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Mrs. Esther Onyekesi. According to Punch newspaper, Onyekere, a son of the woman leader of the Anambra State All Progressives Grand Alliance, was abducted by gunmen at his residence in Ezinified Community, Okpuno, Awka South local government area of Anambra State, in a late-night attack on Saturday, July 26, and was subsequently killed. In a press statement released on Sunday, the State Commissioner for Information, Law Mefa, sympathized with the deceased's family, assuring them that the state government is in search of justice while sustaining and strengthening security in the state. Mefa, who maintained that such a development is an affront to the Professor Chukwuma Soludo government's new security architecture, also expressed delight that the police are on the heels of the perpetrators. The commissioner was quoted as having stated this when he paid a condolence visit to the woman leader of the Anambra State APGA, Esther Onyekesi, according to the statement. The statement read in part, the Anambra State Commissioner for Information, Dr. Law Mefa, recently paid a condolence visit to the woman leader of the Anambra State All Progressives Grand Alliance, Mrs. Esther Onyekesi, whose only son, Martin Ofesinachi Onyekesi, a prominent fish dealer in the state popularly known as Fish Magnet, was kidnapped and murdered recently in Anambra State. Mefa, who described the fish dealer's death as dastardly and heart-wrenching, sympathized with the deceased's mother, assuring her that the state government is with her in search of justice while sustaining and strengthening security in Anambra State. He maintained that such a death is an affront to the solution government's new security architecture and expressed happiness that the police are on the heels of the perpetrators and have issued a statement on the matter after recovering the vehicle in which they drove him away, adding that nobody can commit such a dastardly act in Anambra State and get away with it. So may his soul rest in peace. We'll fight and get him justice. The mother will get justice, the family will get justice, and Anambra will get justice. It's a very painful loss for all of us, and the government is always challenged when things like this happen because it's an affront to the new security architecture put in place by the solution government, led by Professor Chukwuma Soludo. The commissioner said security in Anambra has significantly improved since Soludo launched a new security architecture on February 18, 2025. He noted that troubled areas are now receiving proper attention and that anyone causing unrest must now face the government's security outfits, Haganekemba and Operation Udoga Achi. And whoever is constituting a security challenge in Anambra now knows that they have the government's new security outfits, Haganekemba and Operation Udoga Achi, to contend with, the statement read. Also on the condolence visit, along with the commissioner, was the chairman of the Newi South local government area, Van George Aziogidi. Meanwhile, the Anambra State Police Command of the Nigeria Police Force had said a joint security operatives recovered the victim's vehicle which the assailants used to escape the scene. In a statement, the police said, the Commissioner of Police, CP Ikyoe Oratugu, FWC, MNIPS, PhD, has directed all tactical and intelligence units to redouble their efforts in tracking down the armed men responsible for the abduction and subsequent killing of Mr. Ofesinachi Onyekere, the managing director of Fish Magnet Outlet, who was attacked in the evening of the 27th of July 2025, at his residence in Ezinifite village, Okpuno, Awka. This directive follows the recovery of the victim's navy blue Toyota Corolla, along Akulu, Igbariam Road by the joint security team comprising of Anambra vigilante operatives and the police. Preliminary investigations revealed that the assailants had trailed the victim before launching the violent attack, during which the deceased was shot in the leg and forcibly taken away. He was later found lifeless, sparking public outrage and deep concern among residents of Awka. The CP, while condemning the killing, assured that the criminal elements behind this cowardly act will be brought to book. He further stated that the police owe it to the family, the people of Anambra, and the memory of the deceased to ensure that those responsible face the full weight of the law. Further developments would be communicated accordingly. SP Tochukwu Akenga, Police Public Relations Officer, Anambra State Police Command stated in a press release on Wednesday. Labour Party governorship candidate, Dr. George Moghalu said, "My heart is heavy. I received, with deep sorrow, the devastating news of the brutal murder of Mr. Martin Onyekesi, the only son of Mrs. Esther Onyekesi, the Anambra State woman leader of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. Martin was a promising young man, an industrious fish farmer in his 20s, whose life was cut short in a most cruel and senseless manner. Abducted from his family home in Orca, shot in the leg, and later found dead despite ransom being paid. This is not just a family's tragedy. It is a painful reminder that our dear state is in crisis. My thoughts and prayers are with Mrs. Onyekesi and her entire family in this moment of unimaginable grief. No parent should ever have to bury a child, especially under such horrifying circumstances. I must speak frankly. Anambra is no longer safe. Not even in the state capital. Our people are being slaughtered, kidnapped, and buried in silence while the government looks the other way. This is not leadership, it is abandonment. Just recently, we lost over 10 lives in a ghastly accident at Amici, Newi South local government area, yet there was no statement, no condolence, not even a visit from the state government. Instead, we see street renamings and political endorsement rallies. Where is our conscience? This is not about political party. This is about human life. This is about the safety of our people, our mothers, our fathers, our children. As a father and a fellow Anambrarian, I feel this pain personally. As a leader, I cannot keep quiet. We must return empathy to governance. We must put humanity before politics. The Anambra of our dreams cannot be built on propaganda, silence, and indifference. It must be founded on compassion, courage, and the resolve to act, especially when it matters most. May the soul of young Martin Onyekesi find rest, and may his death not be in vain. Dr. George Moghalu, Labour Party governorship candidate in Anambra State, stated this on Friday, August 1, 2025. Former lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Barrister Afenyi Ejiofor, in a statement said, "The brutal abduction and subsequent killing of Afesinachi Onyekwelu, popularly known as Fish Magnet, in Orca, Anambra State, is yet another chilling reminder that our homeland is bleeding, and we are running out of time to act." Just last week, social media was awash with heart-wrenching reports of how this promising young man was kidnapped in his own home at Ezinifite community, Okuno, Orca South local government area, during a late-night invasion by gunmen. He was whisked away and later gruesomely murdered, despite an undisclosed ransom being paid. The most devastating part, Afesinachi was the only son of his family. One life brutally snuffed out, a family shattered beyond repair, and a community thrown into mourning. I condemn this dastardly act in the strongest possible terms. I call on the governor of Anambra State, security agencies, and every community stakeholder to rise to the occasion, not merely to issue statements, but to act decisively, hunt down these murderers, bring them to justice, and urgently strengthen the security architecture to forestall further bloodshed. But let us not deceive ourselves, this is more than an isolated tragedy. It is a symptom of a larger, deadlier disease that is eating deep into the soul of Ala Igbo. A disturbing trend where crime is romanticized, killers are shielded, and absurd conspiracy theories are peddled on social media to justify barbarity. Some people, hiding behind faceless accounts, shamelessly defend these murderers. Others spin reckless narratives, like the laughable claim that the gunmen who killed over 20 innocent souls in Arundizorogu were Fulani herdsmen who mastered Igbo language. What a tragic delusion. Must death knock at your door before you accept reality? And then there is the digital complicity, the growing chorus of voices online excusing or minimizing the bloodbath ravaging Imo State and other parts of the southeast. Many victims remain silent, paralyzed by fear, while some communities, particularly in the Okigwe axis, have literally been conquered by criminal gangs who now dictate life and death within the domains. The most frightening part, the reckless energy our own people expend defending these killers. When you shield murderers because they're your kinsmen, you embolden them. When you justify kidnappings under the guise of ethnic pride, you leave the gates wide open for the real external aggressors, like armed herdsmen, whose invasion will come when we are weakest and most divided. Let this be crystal clear. Crime is crime, no matter who commits it. A criminal is not a hero. Anyone involved in these heinous acts must be decisively dealt with, without ethnic excuses, without sympathy, and without protection under any guise. To my dismay, only yesterday, I saw a report purportedly authored by alleged Umuaka community, trying desperately to downplay the scale of kidnappings and killings in their area. I ask, what message are we sending to a people who now live under siege, a community where fear is the new normal? The hard truth is this: security is not the responsibility of government alone. It is a collective duty. Sadly, the conventional security architecture appears to have abandoned hapless citizens of IMO state to their fate, either by willful act of dereliction of duty, compromise, or collusion. But we, as a people, cannot, and must not, abandon ourselves. This is a wake-up call. If we do not unite against this evil now, it will consume us all. Tomorrow, it could be your brother, your sister, your only son. The time to act is now, Sir Afeni Ejiofor, Esquire stated this on Saturday, August 2, 2025.
Osazuwakan Radio, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwakan Radio, bringing you the news in a more digital way.